Alrighty, welcome in. I am Jeff. This is Amy, and we
Hello.
are doing part 2 of kind of debunking the body reset episode with Mel Robbins. So if you didn't listen to part 1, go listen to part 1. It is 2 episodes ago at this point. Honestly, as we sit here recording this, full disclosure, part 1 has not gone live yet. So I don't know if it's even worth doing, if anybody enjoys it, but we're just letting it rip because at least I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So if you didn't listen to it, just real quick recap, go listen to part 1. But Mel Robbins, who I like a lot, and Stacy Sims, who I think I agree with some things on, and other things I think were making needlessly complicated. I think that was kind of the biggest takeaway, was kind of creating a narrative around things that can make women feel like, hey, this is how it has to be, or this is the hack, or this is the thing that's gotten me, kept me stuck, when oftentimes it's a lot of the same things. The example that I gave, I think it was shortly after we recorded this episode for part 1, a client sent me, I don't know if you saw that I did this post, but a client sent me something that she had seen on social media from a very large account. And I stitched it. And I almost never get into the calling out other coaches or whatever it is on the internet. I don't love doing it. I try to just be like, this is positive. I might start doing it more because there is so much kind of nonsense being spewed out there.
Yeah.
And obviously they tend to work well on social media if you take a viral clip and then give a take on it. But there was a guy who came on who was in the 90s or early 2000s. There was a Japanese study that discovered that if you walk fast for 3 minutes and then slow for 3 minutes 10 times, you're going to get a bunch more benefits in terms of your heart health and leg strength and all of those types of things than if you walk 10,000 steps a day, just, whatever it is. And the idea was, if you don't have a lot of time, you can do this walking technique. And I was like, he's not wrong, but he's also wrong. Because we got to think about what we're measuring and the stick that we're doing it, where it's like, oh, I have to do this hack 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off. It's like, let's just apply, take it to its furthest conclusion. What if I did 2 minutes on and 2 minutes off? Do I not get the benefits? What about 4 minutes and 2 minutes? The idea is, if I work harder, I'm going to get more benefits out of it.
Correct.
No crap, dude. No crap. You might even get all the way up into zone 2 and get all the benefits of zone 2 cardio that we talk about in the episode, the one about cardio. And you're going to probably get more steps in than you would if you went for a leisurely walk for 30 minutes and all of these types of things. But it's also the reason why 10,000 steps or just walking more is beneficial is because you can go do it right now.
Right. There's a very low barrier to entry with that.
If you're listening, get up and walk. Unless you're in your car, but I mean, if you're just you can be walking and listening to a podcast, you can be pacing around your living room, you can be chasing your kids. There's ways to get it throughout the day. And if I'm at a desk, we just don't want to create it where it's oh, I have to do this because otherwise I'm missing out on all these benefits that I could be getting if I don't have 30 minutes unbroken. Because 30 minutes unbroken with walking fast and walking slow and all this kind of thing, that might constitute a full workout. You might need to sweat during that process. And so then it's not something that you can just do throughout the day. And so is it valuable? Is that a good strategy? 100%. 100%. If you have the time and the inclination and you want to get more out of it, go do the thing. You could also just go for a 30-minute run, or that's a good way to build up to a 30-minute run. Anybody who wants to start running, I say jog the telephone poles, right? You run one telephone pole to the next, then walk, then go, then you build up to I ran 2 and I walked 1. Or you could walk fast and slow. It doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be on pavement. It could be a bike. It could be a skier. It could be ropes. It could be a rower. Like, all of it is valuable. But it's when people cherry pick one piece of data and create a whole narrative around it where it seems like, oh, this is the solution that I've been missing. Like, and of course, what is he doing in his caption is like, come work with me because I know all the stuff. And it's like, dude, if I actually looked at your coaching, you probably tell all of your clients to get 10,000 steps a day.
Probably.
If I actually looked at like anybody who's like, oh, look at all the crazy workout stuff, it's like you probably just everybody's doing goblet squats. You know what I mean? Like, good is good for a reason. So I don't love things getting needlessly complicated. And so what we will continue to do with this episode is I will play a portion of the episode from Mel and Stacy. Again, it's maybe a little bit clunky if there's commercials and stuff like that. Like, forgive me if that's happening. Right? We're just kind of navigating this technology for this. And then I will pause it and I will give some takes on what's happening here, and we will see how far we get through. I don't think that we will finish that episode.
I don't think so. It took us an hour.
It took us like an hour and a half to get through
20
20 minutes of the episode. So
yeah.
But I also don't know if I will continue on after this one. We'll kind of see where I'm at mentally, and if we want to just get back to positive thinking. But here, let me share. Let me see if I can do this correctly, and we'll be off to the races with Mel Robbins and Stacy Sims. I have to mute myself, so I have to remember to do that. Mute me. Good start. It's like loading.
Stress
response.
Sorry, gang. We're just taking a second here. All right. Error. Hang on. Let me stop sharing. Let me pause the. All right. Hopefully we fix that now. And I don't edit this stuff out of here, so you guys get the raw version of it.
Real.
Because if we're looking at decreasing our overall stress response, so that cortisol, bringing the cortisol down, over the course of time, you're going to have a lower baseline of that cortisol. If you have a lower baseline of cortisol, then your body can get into what we call parasympathetic. So that's what you need to sleep. If you have this high elevation of cortisol all the time, we're always sympathetically wired. So we can't get into deep reparative sleep. So you see a lot of awakenings. The other thing that happens when women front load their food, so we have a lot of our calories in the day.
Just a quick pause. That's a very complicated way of saying if you're stressed out, you're not going to get good sleep.
Right, because cortisol is the stress hormone.
Yes. But again, this is where it's like needlessly complicated, where it's like, oh, for women, parents, you know what I mean? Like, if you're stressed, you're not going to get good sleep. Like, everybody, I think, is aware of this. I think I told this story last week where, like, I was really stressed from a lot of things that were happening during the day, and I didn't do a good job managing my stress, and I didn't brain dump before the night happened. And so then when my daughter woke up at 1:30 in the morning, it took me 10 minutes to comfort her. But then I laid in bed awake and my brain was firing and I couldn't fall back asleep. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I just gave it up as a bad job and I got up for the day. And that wasn't like, oh, it's, you know, it was, my cortisol was elevated because I was stressed because I wasn't managing my stress. And so, yes, if you have chronically elevated cortisol levels, meaning you're chronically stressed, meaning you're not dealing with your stress, like you're at capacity with you're like constantly running on like wired. Yeah, you're going to have a hard time sleeping. So go listen to the one about stress management, the one about stress. Again, this is what I did last episode too. I was like, just go listen to a bunch of these other episodes. But go listen to that one with strategies for it and how it impacts all of the things that we're doing. She's not wrong. When you're stressed, you're not going to get good sleep.
Right.
But we're also making this a little bit needlessly complicated.
Right.
Which we should. Then when we go to sleep, we aren't waking up with hypoglycemia. So that means we're not waking up with low blood sugar, because a lot of women who undereat or hold a fast and they aren't eating enough. Their awakenings at night is due to low blood sugar.
I thought it was because I had to pee. It's
Well-
also because of the low blood sugar.
Mhm.
Doctor said, where the hell have you been? Like I needed you in my life like decades ago.
I needed me then too.
I-
It's taken me this long to be able to acquire all the knowledge and the research. So now I'm hoping that we can hit all of the listeners, and so that they will learn what we should have known
This
decades
is
ago.
so eye-opening. Like already you have highlighted so many different.
Again, just love Mel and her energy and all
Oh,
this
she's
stuff.
so
but
lovely.
again, the idea of this is, yeah, it might be because you have to pee, Mel. Like
Some of it is
like,
definitely.
some of it's that. So like, stop drinking far enough before bed so that you can make it through the night, empty your bladder a few times. But the other piece of it is, again, that's not a unique challenge to women of like, so this is where like you want to thread the needle of how late do I eat sort of thing, because we talked about this, I think, on the last episode, where like, hey, if you eat late at night, what sort of decisions do you make for your eating late at night? Probably
They're not
the
great
best.
ones, right? Like I'm not going in there and looking for chicken to cook.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, if I don't eat enough throughout the day, I'm going to have low blood sugar and have a hard time sleeping. Yeah. But that's true for everybody. Like if I'm too hungry and not fueling my body appropriately, my body's not going to function the way that it's supposed to function.
Right.
That's logic. That's math. That's not a unique problem to women. That is something that probably is more prominent. Thank you.
Yeah.
In women, because women will tend to not eat as much, right? And also they don't eat as much. So like, this is the other thing that we talked about in the one where it's harder for women to lose weight because you have less margin. And so like a dude who's 6'2" can be in his deficit at 2,300 calories. And a woman who's 5'2" is going to have to be at 1,500 calories or something like that. And so it's just not as much. Now, she doesn't need as much. That's the point. But you have less margin. So if you're like, oh, I kind of underate today by 10%, now I'm at 1,300 calories. If the dude who's, at 2,200 undereats by 10%, he's still at 2,000 calories. Dude can still function. You know what I mean? We start getting away from it where we miss one meal, it starts to kind of get away from us. So yeah, if you are under eating and exhausted, then like physically exhausted, your body's actually not going to be able to sleep properly. So having enough food in your bed, it just means like, have a good dinner, gang.
Good
Just
satiating dinner.
Eat a good dinner. Like, have some protein, have some carbs, have some healthy fats, have some fiber. Eat it at a normal hour. Digest your food. Have that be the last time you drink anything. Pee a couple times before bed and do a brain dump and get a good night's sleep. But again, 2 nights ago, my son was up for 4 hours because he was sick. So like some of it's outside of your control.
Right.
And here's the deal. My son didn't want me. I tried. I went in there every single time and he cried and he wanted mommy. And so mommy had to keep going in because he's crying for mommy. And sometimes it's the other way, but most of the time they want mommy. So women, that's also some of it.
Yeah.
It's like you're just wearing more of it.
Yeah.
You're just wearing more of it. So it is harder for you. It's just harder. And I feel for you, but there's the circumstances. And it's not harder for you because, like biologically you're more prone to stress. It's like you got more stressful crap happening in your life. It just is, So there we go. Let's see where we got. We've done less than 2 minutes. Just so slow.
Our ratio is so good.
Yeah.
Differences between men and women just in the morning, just in the stress levels, just in the fuel that we need in the morning, in the muscle composition, like all of it. And it also is very illuminating because it makes a lot of sense then as to why the programs that work for Chris and seem to work like magic actually leave me frustrated and tired.
Yeah.
So what would be the ideal breakfast for anyone? Whether and let's just talk about the person who just wants to move more. They want to take better care of their body. They want to understand how their body works so that you're getting better results and you're feeling better in your life. So what would breakfast look like just on an average morning for anybody?
Yeah, that I will say that it's a hard one because people have different food preferences. How about an avatar?
What's an avatar?
A makeup person.
Okay, a makeup person.
Makeup person. So we'll say there's a woman who is plant-based but not vegetarian. So she has a preference for plants. 3 kids, super busy, wakes up, has been waking up tired but wired, didn't sleep well. It's like, okay, I need to make this change. Never hungry in the morning. So we can split her breakfast. It could be overnight oats, which is chia seeds, oatmeal, some milk or oat milk to soak it. Then when she gets up, she's like, I'm going to split that in half. The first half, I'm going to add some berries and maybe another tablespoon of Greek yogurt, because then I'm going to get some protein, some carbohydrate, some fiber, and it's going to calm me down. It's going to tell my brain, yep, ready to go.
Okay.
Then you either are going out for your walk. Maybe you're going to do some home strength training. Maybe you're meeting a friend for a session. Maybe you're taking 15 minutes of just breath work to bring yourself down, especially if you're the avatar of 3 kids and a busy life, just taking that moment to put yourself first. And then when you get back, maybe it's an hour and a half later, you have the second half. The second half of those overnight oats with a few more tablespoons of Greek yogurt and some nuts and berries, because then you're getting the protein, carbohydrate. So you've actually split your breakfast, but you've given your body the benefit of food on different eating opportunities without being overfull. But at the end, you end up with 30 grams of protein over the course of a couple of hours. So it's easy. You can mix it up, do it the night before. You know that I'm not that hungry, but if I have a little bit, and then over the course of a couple of weeks, you're going to find that you're going to wake up going, yeah, I need some food. And this is kind of a reset of your circadian rhythm. Your body is starting to fall in line. Your hypothalamus is understanding. Your appetite hormones are starting to work properly. And when all of that feeds forward, then you're going to start to see changes in body composition because you're having better sleep. Because we can't change anything if our sleep is perturbed. So the more we focus on how are we going to work with our body's natural rhythms and the way that our hormones work, the more it feeds into better parasympathetic drive for better sleep.
I know Mel's going to just be like, this is amazing, right? But let me say a couple things that she said there that are really solid, and a couple things that are more complicated than they need to be, and a couple things that are not correct. So, love that breakfast, right? If you want to do it, overnight oats, the benefit of overnight oats is that you can do it the night before. You can get out in front of it. You know what I mean? But again, we're like, yeah, if you're not super hungry, then don't eat a big breakfast. Okay, we don't have to be like, oh, whatever, I'm splitting my breakfast and all these kinds. It's like, yeah, just
eat a smaller breakfast.
Eat a smaller breakfast and then have a snack later. It doesn't even have to be like, oh, I split my overnight oats. You could just have half of them or have a smaller breakfast and then have a snack later, right? Or again, is there benefit if you're not hungry in the morning? You probably aren't going to want even a little bit of overnight oats. It might not make you feel appetite at all. So that's where drinking some of it can be valuable. If you're like, hey, let me just try to get a little bit of protein in a smoothie or whatever. She did the protein coffee. All of those things are good strategies. All of those things are good strategies. So I'm not dismissing that by any stretch of the imagination. Again, you can also train your body to be a certain way. So that's 100% correct. Your body is trained to eat a certain way because you've eaten that way. It's used to it. You're used to sleep. You're used to whatever. So you can train it. It's going to be uncomfortable for a while, but you're going to train it. The thing that we got, so that was good, but we kind of complicated it more than it needed to be. But it's just just eat something. There's value in eating something when you wake up. But again, you're not going to wreck yourself for the day if you don't. But again, it's probably beneficial to you to eat something if you can stomach something to kind of get your day going and all of that sort of stuff. the thing that she said at the end there, and she threw it in kind of casually, but it was wrong, which is your body composition is going to change because you're getting better sleep. Right? That was the order of operations that she went in. And we talked about where does sleep fall in the things of this. All of these things, like your body composition is going to change if you do everything that she just said, because she also talked about going for a walk and getting exercise in and eating throughout the day and getting better sleep. That's the whole formula. So it's not because you're getting better sleep and that leads to you being more willing to do other things that you need to do.
Right.
Like the purpose of sleep is to make you more apt to do the things that you need to do. When I woke up at 1:45 that morning, you want to know what I wanted to do that day?
Sleep.
Nothing. All I wanted to do was sleep and sit on the
couch.
couch and watch Netflix or scroll on my phone, or watch Netflix while I scroll on my phone, because we're so easily distracted.
You have
We
your
need
big
both
screen
things.
and your little screen.
I didn't want to eat chicken breast. That doesn't sound good when I'm tired and stressed out. I wanted to eat comfort food. So like getting better sleep does help you do all of the things. And it is a little bit of a chicken and the egg sort of scenario where it's like, okay, helping, if I wake up in the morning and I get into the idea of like, I have something to look forward to, that's really what it comes down to. But if you wake up in the morning and you dread your day, it's going to be harder to get up in the morning.
It's true.
So like, you have time for yourself, she said. Like, try to wake up before your kids, even if it's 15 minutes, just to like have a moment that's not demanding on you.
It is so worth it. I have my alarm go off like 45 minutes before Emerson's, which is enough time for me to take a quick shower, but also to go downstairs and have a cup of tea by myself.
Just like breathe for the day. Like have it be like that morning. Like people get too hyped up on their morning routines, but like having a morning routine that's like something you can look forward to. That's not like punishing yourself for doing it, but like, can we enjoy the morning? And so feeding yourself can be part of that. And so having something that you don't have to wake up and like make that's like elaborate could be valuable. Like I like to wake up and like sleep make my eggs and oatmeal because I can do it basically while sleeping.
Right.
And then I eat it and I have my quiet time at the table and I look forward to that. It's like, this is my 15 minutes to establish the tone for the day. And if I oversleep and I wake up to a screaming kid and I have to try to do that while the kids are awake and whatever it is, it just makes it harder. So again, what happens if I'm feeding myself properly and getting better sleep? I'm probably not going to be as stressed out.
Right. It's not a direct A to B. It's a
they're linked, but it's correlation, not causation. This is the math teacher in me coming out, right? So, oh gosh, I wish I remembered this crazy one that I used to do. I want to like look it up when
like
she's
a
doing
math
this.
Thing?
So there was a math thing that we used to teach. How I used to teach correlation and not causation, but I can't think of what it was. But it was like.
I'm so far removed from high school math.
But it's basically like, so, yeah, I can't think of it right now. I'll look it up while she's talking. But the idea is something can be linked and those things can happen simultaneously, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one is caused by the other. It just doesn't necessarily mean one thing or the other. So, yeah.
I have just so screwed this up. Like I literally wake up, I delay the coffee, I exercise on an empty stomach. I then have my coffee, which I'm then drinking on an empty stomach, which means I've now maximized stressing myself out. And then I'm slamming something that has 30, 45 grams of protein after I work out. And so what have you done if you are the kind of person like I am that you've bought into all the BS and you've basically been starving yourself in the morning? And even if you get out for a walk, how are you kind of actually not only not getting the benefit, but you're making it worse? What's happening in like the person's body when you do not feed yourself first thing in the morning as a woman?
Yeah, I always bring it down to what are we doing when we want to exercise, right? We're looking for better blood glucose control. We're looking for better bone. We're looking for better muscle. If you're not eating, then you are not going to get better at any of that stuff, because the body, again, is like, I need fuel for the stress that's occurring, and I need fuel for the exercise.
So if you've been brainwashed like I am,
Mm-hmm.
That's correct, right? Like if you're overly stressed and not fueled enough, remember that exercise is a stressor.
Mhm.
She overcomplicates it a little bit there, but remember exercise is stressful. And stress, remember, is not inherently good or bad. How we respond to it is. This is where the concept of overtraining comes into play and undernourishing. I could go to the gym for hours and hours and hours. Like if I did marathon training and I never ate anything, I would actually be doing more harm than good to my body, because my body wouldn't have the fuel to do it. It's like running your car on empty. It's not good for you. So like nourishing yourself is this. But again, we're getting into the Mel and bashing like this stuff, which I don't necessarily love. And I remembered what it is. There's two correlation causation things. Ice cream sales and murder rates.
Oh, that's right. They're graphed identically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ice cream sales go up as murder rates go up.
Yep.
And also, this is the other fun one. Number of drownings and the number of movies Nicolas Cage appears in.
That one might have a correlation.
Correlation, not causation, meaning there's a confounding variable. There's something like the easy one is murder rates versus ice cream. Why is that happening? Because it's summertime.
Yep.
More people are outside, longer days, more opportunities, right? Yep. There you go. That's the deal. People are not murdering each other over ice cream. But let's see what Mel has to say. Well, I mean, death by chocolate is pretty unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And you're exercising because you are trying to like lose weight or you're trying to look thin.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening if I continue to go down that route where I don't eat before I exercise and I'm basically starving myself and I'm going for my walk and I'm delaying food?
You lose muscle. And then the other thing, when we look at women who are late 30s, early 40s onwards, we get a signal to put on more visceral fat. So that's that deep belly fat that's metabolically active that can be dangerous. So I'll see women who are, doing the same pursuit and really proud of the fact that they're intermittent fasting. They're not breaking their fast till noon. They've had their coffee to hold them through. And you do a DEXA. And
what's a DEXA?
A DEXA is when you go and you get a complete body scan. So it looks at your muscle, it looks at fat, where fat's put, it looks at how dense your bones are. So we see their DEXA results. And on the outside, they look healthy, right? But on the inside, it's a bit of a scary story where we see low bone density. We see an increase of fat accumulating in the belly area, which means that it's more what we call metabolically active. So you see a change in your cholesterol. So you have more of the quote bad cholesterol that's elevated. You have more inflammatory markers, which is a predisposition for diabetes. We see insulin resistance. So I know that there are listeners and maybe you're thinking about, well, I've been doing this forever and I don't have any bad blood markers. What's going on? I didn't say that it necessarily comes out. That's the worst case scenario. But when we look at what's happening on the inside, I don't want your bones to be like chalk. And I don't want you not to have muscle to be able to get up and run after your grandkids or carry your groceries into your house. So if we just make that small change by having some food first thing and then carrying on with your day, you're going to get the impetus to build muscle. You're going to get the impetus to keep your bone. And you're going to be able to reduce the signaling for that deep belly fat. And it's all those health, like I understand it because I've been there. I grew up in that same 1980s, 1990s. And I still get it in my head sometimes like, well, is this the right thing? And I've done the research. I've been in the lab. I've implemented it. So it is really difficult to get your head around.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the long term. It's like, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now?
Well, and I also think it's
Okay. This is where I'm not going to part. That's wrong. Okay, that's wrong. And that's where, and what's so hard is in the middle of that, she said something that was good.
Mhm.
And so that's where I get like this could have been, this had the opportunity to be really good. But the conclusion that you would draw, like if I were to summarize that last 3 minutes, what's the conclusion that you draw from that?
That the way I've been doing it my entire life is wrong, and I need to start eating before I go to the gym, even though I don't feel good if I do that.
And also, if I don't eat before I go to the gym,
I will lose muscle.
I will lose muscle, my bones will be chalk, and I'm going to get deep belly fat. And if I do eat before I go to the gym, then magically all of those things will not. Yes. That's where you're like, you're putting a lot on half a bowl of overnight oats.
Right.
You're putting a lot on it.
That's exactly what I thought of. I was like, half a cup of overnight oats is going to solve my...
Is going to fix all of those things.
Okay.
No, it's not. Now, this is the thing, like, going on a crazy, like, not having enough muscle. We've talked about this on, I don't think I've done the full longevity episode yet, but
I think so.
Like bone density and muscle. Yeah, this is going to be one of our next episodes, is the one about longevity. I just have to do it. I've been waiting to do it because I'm like, I know there's going to be so many statistics and it's going to be terrifying, but I have to do it as a result of this. Bone density and muscle and sarcopenia and all of these things where you lose muscle and you lose strength and you lose power and you lose bone density, particularly in women, osteoporosis and all of these things. Yes, 100%. If you're not eating enough food, you will do those things. But you can't also say, I'm losing, a ton of muscle and all of these things and gaining a ton of belly fat. That happens, right? But it's not because I'm fasting. It's because I'm not eating enough protein overall to hold on to my muscle. I'm not strength training to build muscle and keep my bones strong. And I'm not in a calorie deficit. So I'm going to put on belly fat. And this is the thing with the freaking belly fat, man. You want to know why we get belly fat first and it comes off last?
Because it's a bastard.
No. Where are your most important organs?
Well, yeah, it's to protect you. Like, I actually kind of don't mind that I have some belly fat because it protects me when I'm doing some of the exercises I do.
It protects your most vital organs.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, my low back fat. I'm like, you want me to kidney punch you?
Yeah.
Without any low back fat? That's how you die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're not like, oh, I'm not getting kidney punched all the time, but like, it's for your body's protection.
Right.
So it holds on to fat there. Like, if you look at bodybuilders and the people who get really, 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 really lean, like to the point of danger, the last place that they lose their body fat is their low belly and their low back. Their low back is the absolute last place to do it. That's why you get, like, when bodybuilders are getting measured, and this is what's so messed up about the bodybuilding world, is they do it's called the Christmas tree. Have you ever seen this on the bodybuilder back, right? Where their lats are so big, and so the separation of their lats, and they get super duper lean. It literally looks like a Christmas tree because their back is so lean going down into the top of their glutes. But that means there's nothing there protecting their most vital organ. Like, those guys are in danger at that point. And there's a reason why. It's the last place on your belly, on your body to lose weight. And so the deep belly fat and all of this, like, you just throwing words at it. It's like, it's fat is fat, right? Like, it's fat is fat. It's not what we're trying to do. We don't want it like interwoven through things. But the best way to combat having too much belly fat on, because what did Mel say at the very beginning? How do I combat the mental thing of not trying to be too skinny? What did Stacy then turn around and say? This is going to make you get belly fat. It's the same freaking message. You're putting a different lipstick on it, but it's the same damn message of like, don't get your belly fat, because she could have said, this is actually how you live for a long time and play with your grandkids and all of that stuff that she did. But then she had to turn around and be like, nope, this is also causing deep belly fat and all of these blood markers and all of these things. It's like, you want to know what also causes that? Just not moving.
Yeah.
So you could have championed, fuel yourself, eat enough protein, strength train for your muscles density and all of these things. It's good for you. And as you do that, and as you move more, and as you build more muscle, and as you eat more, you'll end up being hungry less. So you'll stop going to the easy snacks, which are calorically dense, and the Oreos and the kids snacks and all this stuff that you don't end up eating just 3 Oreos. You eat the whole damn sleeve of Oreos because they're just there. And so you overeat, and that's what's causing you to have belly fat. It's not the fact that you didn't have your half a cup of overnight oats in the morning and you waited until after you worked out.
Oh, man. I love Fired Up Jeff.
But this is like really frustrating for me because they're also like a wolf in sheep's clothing, attempting to say, I'm going against the messaging that we have received for forever. And she's like, this has broken me. This has been so hard for me that I grew up with this, and you grew up with it. And it's the heroin chic and as skinny as you can be and all of this stuff. And at the same time, to be like, this is what causes belly fat. You know what causes belly fat? Having too much fat on your body. And it just is going to be in your belly. It's going to be the last place that you lose it. I'm sorry. It sucks because everybody on the internet is trying to be like flat belly and it goes all the way down. Ain't nobody got a flat belly. You want to know who has a flat belly? People who are sucking it in. People who are sucking it in. And you always look at your belly. How do you look at your belly? You look down at it. You want to know what the least flattering angle to look at yourself is? Straight down. Because your posture goes to crap and all of a sudden you lose. You know what I mean? You could be like, oh, man, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I can grab, if I'm slouched down like this, I can grab a full handful of the bottom of my belly. Like 2 full like chunks of belly fat. And I'm relatively lean. It's just there. It's there to protect you. And I could flex and I could suck it in. I could squeeze really hard and I could have good posture and I could get the right angle and the right lighting and the right angle of my camera. And I could make it look like I'm cut from glass with a spray tan and glistening lighting and the whole deal. I could make it look really, really good. But you're going to have belly fat and it's for your own damn good. But you want to actually try to help yourself. Yeah, you should lift freaking weights. Women should be lifting weights. Probably even more than men, honestly, because you are so predisposed to having bones that deteriorate. It is just as much, if not more important for women to be eating protein for the reason that you have fewer calories to work with. And so if you put yourself in a calorie deficit and you don't have a lot, the first thing you're going to try to do is ditch protein because it doesn't taste as good.
It's true.
But then you're not going to have enough, so you're going to lose the muscle. And you're not more prone to losing muscle. This is the other thing. Oh, my goodness. Women are not more prone to losing muscle or have a harder time building muscle than men do. There is no evidence whatsoever that that is true. Women oftentimes can actually gain muscle at a faster rate than men relative to their size. But we have been so ingrained that building muscle is a male thing and lifting weights is a no. Do it for your good. And this is not solved by having protein coffee in the morning. That could be part of it. That could be part of it. If that helps you to do all the other stuff, yeah, 100%. If you wake up in the morning and you're starved and you can't actually work out all that hard because you can't lift relatively heavy weights because you have low blood sugar because you haven't eaten anything all day, yeah, you're not going to get as much out of the workout. But that doesn't mean that you're not getting anything out of the workout or all of a sudden you're catabolizing the muscle when you go for a walk. I'm going to go for a walk and I haven't eaten anything. Oh no, my bones are going to turn to dust. Are you kidding me?
Seems a little extremist.
but it's like, you could see how that's like, and she didn't say it exactly like that, but I didn't take it far. I didn't extrapolate to the nth degree from what she said. She basically said that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just taking probably how a lot of people heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn, if I go for my walk without eating anything,
I'm gonna lose muscle.
My bones are going to turn to dust, and I'm going to lose muscle, and I'm going to have low belly fat.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have half my cup of overnight oats and I do everything else exactly the same, then that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No. Could that help you do the other 10 things that you need to do? Of course. But it's not a magic formula. And this is where people have an agenda where they're like, I'm trying to put, like, this is her solution. Women, eat first thing. Because she did a study where she saw some positive results from it. And so she's like, this is the conclusion.
It's cherry picked.
And we try to simplify it down where there's no nuance. And it's just like, do this.
Mm-hmm.
Go for the 3-minute walk on, 3-minute off walk.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to do it for you. No, that's not going to do it for you by itself. Is it valuable? Sure. Is it everything? No. I knew we were going to get there. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. All right, here we go. What does Mel have to say?
It's just like, if you actually are working out, not only to take care of yourself, but because you do want to change the composition of your body, you do want to be a little leaner, you do want to be stronger, that focusing on the actual science, and this is like a complete turnaround for me, that you need to actually eat more.
Yes.
In order to lose.
Exactly.
Which is the exact opposite of the brainwashing that all women and girls have received for their entire life.
Right.
And so it's so helpful to hear you talk about the science. And it makes so much sense, because I think we've all had that experience in our life where, like, I am trying and this isn't working.
Right.
And the first mistake that I've been making for now 56 years, I'm understanding, is literally not eating before I exercise.
Yeah.
And, one thing I want to ask is,
just before she gets into the next topic, again, same thing, eating before the exercise, but the other thing that she said in there was eating more to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Let's clarify.
Yep.
Okay. Eating more to lose is where people get, again, we're flirting with the starvation mode thing. Like, they haven't come out to say it, but it's been adjacent to the conversation for the last few minutes, where it's like, if you're not eating enough, your body's going to hold on to fat. Actually, Stacy Sims said this, which is like, hey, if you're not eating enough, your body's going to go into like panic mode and cortisol, and it's going to hold on to the fat. She actually did say that. So she kind of did the starvation mode, but she didn't call it starvation mode, which is like, if you're not eating enough, your body's going to hold on to fat because it's terrified. Ain't nobody who's starving in the world holding on to fat.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how it works, gang. Now, if you don't eat, how do you feel?
Grumpy and weak.
And hungry, and like you want stuff, right? Not a trick question. Yep. You're hungry, right? What do you want to eat when you're hungry?
Anything that's quick, fast, and tasty. So it's usually not the good lean protein sources.
I want to eat now. I want to eat something that's yummy. And I'm also going to be playing catch up. So I will likely eat more than my fill because I haven't given my body time to catch up yet. If you get into the spot where you are hungry, it is going to be very difficult for you to make logical quality decisions.
Correct.
Because you're playing from behind the 8 ball. You're playing catch up. So how do we combat our body's natural, like what we're trying to do, which is I'm eating too much food. That's why I'm not losing weight. I'm eating too much food. There's no other equation in it. Right? It's the laws of thermodynamics. We didn't invent them. It's like gravity. Like, sorry, you can't tell me that gravity doesn't work because you have, special shoes. Like, gravity is gravity. You might have something that helps with gravity, but gravity is gravity. The laws of thermodynamics are the laws of thermodynamics. It's calories in and it's calories out. That's the math. Now, is it a lot easier to monitor your calories in if you're eating higher quality foods? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a lot easier to eat higher quality foods if I'm not eating only when I'm hungry? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening? Let's just play this out. I'm not hungry. I wake up, I go to the gym, I do a hard workout. How do I feel when I get home? Probably
Starving.
hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really hungry. And so then I'm looking for something quick, something delicious, you know what I mean? So then maybe I end up overeating there.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I maybe skip lunch, or I don't eat as much for lunch, and then I get into the afternoon snack, and I have an afternoon snack, and then I don't have a high quality dinner, so then I get into evening snacking. You can see how this would go in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because, the magic of eating early or eating more. It's no, you're eating more of the stuff that you shouldn't be eating to keep you full. Not shouldn't be eating because it's bad. Shouldn't be eating because it doesn't keep you full.
Mm-hmm. It's not satiating.
If you eat a whole sleeve of Oreos, you're hungry again in 45 seconds
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't keep you full.
If you eat a baked potato, you are full for hours.
If you looked at this is just do ease of 2 Oreos is like 140 calories.
Really?
You could eat an entire. I think so. I might be wrong. It might be 70. I might have had it backward. But let's just say it's 2. It might be 4. Let me Google it while we do this.
Oh my god.
Oreos nutrition facts. 160 calories for 3 cookies. 160 calories for 3 cookies. So I wasn't so far off. Okay.
You weren't far off at all. Oh, that's horrible.
So 3 cookies, 160 calories. You know how, you could eat an entire potato for 160 calories. An entire potato.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna you're gonna
with a little bit of olive oil on it.
Nobody's ever eaten 3 Oreos in the history of Oreos.
No, that's not a serving. A serving is 27.
So what ends up happening is, but if I eat a whole potato with, 6 or 8 ounces of, lean steak with a big couple handfuls of broccoli that have been roasted, I'm going to be friggin' full.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be under 500 calories.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you're eating more calories, you're eating more food because the food is less calorically dense,
right,
because it's higher quality, and you're eating not when you're hungry, but when it's time to eat. Because then you're not doing things based on how you feel. You're doing things based on what you know needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Because your feelings will lie to you, but the facts do not care about your feelings. They just do not. All right, let's see where we go here.
Okay.
We're just ripping it here. We've got 10 minutes in 40
in an hour.
In 40. We're going great. Go team.
Does this work for everyone? I got this listener question because when people found out that you were coming, oh my God, it was like our website crashed. Ruby wrote in, why do some people have natural muscle tone and some of us can eat right, work out, and we are still flabby and not toned?
There are lots of things on this. And I wish that Ruby was in this room because then I could say, well, let's look at your morphology, so your body type. So there are some women who have a better predisposition for building muscle. We call those mesomorphic. And then we have other women who struggle really hard to put muscle mass on, and they tend to be a little bit flabbier. And that is more of our endomorphic. And then we have in the middle the ectomorphic that are the super skinny Kate Moss. And most of the time,
I'm going to be really quick on this. Those don't exist. That was a marketing tactic. Those don't exist. So this is where I get frustrated when people who with actual credentials start just spouting nonsense. Mesomorph, endomorph, ectomorph, not a thing. Bone structure is a thing. But you are not more, and genetics are a thing. But we don't diminish people into body types. That's like V-shred type garbage. Doesn't exist. If you want more information on it, we can do it another time, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. But that's just wrong. So I'm just going to call it as wrong. Like if you just spout nonsense, it's nonsense. And listen, full disclosure, there's a period of time when I was 17 years old when my athletic trainer told me that I was an ectomorph because I was 5'10" and 155 pounds and I couldn't put on weight, that I was like, well, damn, I'm just screwed. No, you're not just screwed. Now, you have a body type that you are going to be more apt to, do things in your bone structure. Like look at Alona Mar as a, for instance, who's super popular right now, the rugby player.
Love her.
Alona Mar has broader shoulders and she has genetics that lend her to building more muscle, right?
Mhm.
I don't have super broad shoulders. So I am going to have a ceiling on what I am genetically capable of building for muscle. But I am not genetically screwed because I'm a certain way. It's just like your height.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your height is your height, but that doesn't mean that you can't figure out how to work with it. So this is just where I get. All right, I'll move on before I get too mad and start really bashing people.
People are a mix of that.
Okay.
So when we look at those different muscle types and you're looking at doing all the work and not getting any benefit, I want to see what kind of training you're doing. Because if we are looking at when you're eating and how you're complementing your exercise, then we can make gains. And every woman's a little bit different. Like my sister, she isn't so into athletics and stuff that I am. We grew up in the same household, but I was always out building tree forts and she was in reading books. But over the past year, she's really put herself into getting stronger and strength training. Body composition is changing. Her grip strength is stronger. And she's like, I never really thought that lifting weights would help me change my body composition. I was like, why have you not thought of that? Like if you're lifting under load, you build muscle. She's like, but then that's weight on the scale. And I was always afraid of the weight on the scale, not the outcome of looking better.
Right. And then we also, because we've been so gaslit to think that it's about being so thin,
right?
And that's what's desirable, that you hear build muscle and you're like, but I don't want to bulk up. I'm actually trying to lean down.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is, no. This is actually like putting on your own Spanx with your muscles.
Right.
It tightens.
So I like that analogy. Again, agree, building muscle is actually going to give you closer to the body composition that you're looking for. But she contradicted herself right there. Did you see that? She said that we have these predispositions based on our genetics for body types. And then she went into every woman's different. And then she went into preferences. And then she went into everybody who lifts weights can actually change their body composition. Logically, there's no threat there, right? The second part is 100% right. You may not like to lift weights. I don't care. Sorry, do things that you don't like to do. Like sometimes you don't want to go to work. I did not want to wake up in the middle of the night with my daughter when she was screaming. You do things that you don't want to do all the damn time. You do them because they're good for you. You do them because they're your job. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it to the same extent as somebody else. If somebody really enjoys lifting weights, they could do that a little bit more. And somebody who enjoys more cardio or yoga or whatever it is, you can do the things that you like to do, but you also have to do the things you have to do. It's like nutrition. You can eat some of the things that you want to eat, but you also have to eat the things that you have to eat. You can't eat everything you want to eat and expect to have the results.
Right.
But you're also not going to just be able to eat things that you have to eat and not ever eat anything that you want to eat, because then you're never going to stick with it. So no, you are not pigeonholed by your body type. You will have a genetic cap on your ability to build muscle. Most people will never come anywhere close to their genetic cap for building muscle. This is the same idea of the bulking thing. Did we do the office thing on the last episode? Right, where there's Michael in the one with the jail, prison Mike, right, where he goes outside and they're in the yard and he pulls out the 2-pound weights and he goes, what are those 2-pounders? I'm not going for bulk, I'm going for tone, right? This is the lie that we've been fed. Lighter weights gives, like, muscle is muscle. Muscle is muscle. So lift relatively heavy weights anywhere from, I mean, you could go as low as 3 reps, probably 6 is a better go, all the way up to 15 to 20. You can build muscle at 20 reps if you want to, but like lift weights relatively hard, and everybody can build muscle. But 100%, women have been gaslit to be super thin and like starve yourself. 100%. That's absolutely the things that have happened. And absolutely, the people that you want to look like probably have a good amount of muscle on them. I talk about this all the time. Everybody talks to me about Carrie Underwood's legs.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what everybody likes about Carrie Underwood's legs?
They're toned.
They got some muscle to them. You're not going to be so jacked. Just look at all the I did this, I think, on the last episode where I was like, look at my arms, and they can't get bigger. It's hard to build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to accidentally get too bulky. Okay, so yes, go lift muscle. You are not being hindered by your genetics, and your preferences matter, but also don't. Like, think about it with your diet, right? If you want to be plant-based, that's your preference. You're allowed to do that. Is it objectively going to be harder for you? 100%. To do everything that you want to do with your nutrition and your health and all of these things? 100%. Mm-hmm. We have grown up to be omnivores. So it is going to be harder for you if you are plant-based to do it. But if you decide to do it and that's your preference, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that you get an out on protein because it's hard and you don't like it.
Right. There are ways.
Like if you want to be plant-based and you don't like tofu, you're going to have a hard time.
Maybe reconsider.
You're going to have a hard time. Like there's if you don't like tempeh, you're going to have a hard time. Like you got to find a way to get, if you don't like eggs, you're going to have a hard time. Or plant-based, I guess, isn't eggs, but you're going to have a hard time doing it with these things. Now you got to find a way, because the thing is the thing, right? Like the math is the math. The science is the science. Like we can't move the goalposts. Dave Ramsey says this all the time about buying a house, which I have a really hard time with, but I just have to come to truth with it. But he's like, you don't get a pass on math based on your zip code. When he talks about like how much house you can afford, it's like, just because you live in San Diego and houses are $1 million for a 2-bedroom house doesn't mean that it's a smart decision for you to buy a house for $1 million in San Diego if you don't make enough to afford $1 million house. Right. Like that's what we're in right now. Right. We're not in $1 million house, but that's a scenario that we find ourselves in, where it's like, to get to like just a basic 4-bedroom house in our area is going to be like $1 million. And girl, we can't afford $1 million house. So it's like, okay, well, I guess we're not doing the house. Like, just because we want it, just because it's there, we are limited by our ability to afford it. Right. And so we don't get a pass on it just because we don't want to do it. The math is the math.
You up.
Right. And I will say, like, I sit here and I know people always comment about my arms. And
it takes a lot of work to get arms like that, I would think.
Yeah. But the other thing is,
they're amazing arms.
Thanks.
I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt.
If you're not watching, she is jacked.
Incredible arms. And
for a reason. If I had your arms, I'd be wearing a tank top too.
I would love it if all of this would go lower body. Like, I have tried for years to get really strong hamstrings and really strong glutes. They're strong, but they're not bulky. It's just mesomorphic up here, ectomorphic down. So it's the difference in the combination. But
no.
Went through a time where I was really upset with the fact that I had more muscle. Like when I was bike racing, I tried really, really hard to lose it, but I couldn't, because my body's like, no, this is how you are born. So women who are like, I'm really trying to build muscle, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get bulky. If you don't have a genetic predisposition for putting muscle on really, really easily, it's really hard to get bulky. And for most women who are trying to put muscle on, not eating or doing lots of cardio work, you're not going to put muscle on. It's really hard to get bulky.
So what do you want everyone to know?
That right there was like if I did a clip, that's something I'm like stamp of approval. 100% agree. Like you do have some women have a less of a genetic predisposition to build muscle. And so she is going to hold, and you're going to hold muscle differently, not mesomorph, ectomorph, but you're going to hold muscle differently. Everybody's going to be distributing their muscle differently. And that's in the same way that you're going to distribute your bone differently. Like people who have higher portion of their legs, like longer legs versus their torso. Like everybody distributes their stuff differently. And that's just the way that we are built. But it's not because she has certain body types and she's screwed. It's just like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to be somewhat limited on what they're going to be able to do there.
About exercise as opposed to diet?
So when we look at all the diet trends that are out there, right, we see the plant-based, the carnivorous, the keto, the intermittent fasting, all of the things. They are born out of a want for better health, body composition, better gut, all of those things. But if you exercise, then you get all of those things. And
wait a minute, say that again?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on a second. So all of those diets are designed to try to create a health outcome through eating.
Yes.
But if you exercise, the exercise provides the health outcome?
Yes. Because we look at exercise as a stress. Like we have gotten into a societal idea that we all live in the same kind of temperature. We have automatic garage door openers. We have the internet. We have our computers, even driverless cars. So we have created this environment where we don't move. The outcome of having an environment where we don't move, and we don't have a lot of green space or opportunities to even walk places, is now we have this obesity epidemic. And even if you're not facing obesity, you're facing some overweightness and you're being bombarded by all these diet styles. If we were just to put a pause on the diet style and just take a step back and say, you know what, if I go back to eating normally, which means that I'm eating breakfast lunch, and dinner, and I'm not eating snacks after dinner, and I'm kind of paying attention to kind of food that I'm eating so it's nutrient dense. It's not all these ultra processed things. There's no protein Pop-Tarts because it says protein on it.
You know what I call this, Dr. Sims? The grandparent diet.
Yes. Okay.
Basically how your grandparents lived.
Right. Exactly. And then you put in some exercise. Because exercise is a stress, the body's very adaptable to stress. So if we're looking at doing a longer, harder walk up a hill, after a couple of weeks of doing that, it's going to be easy because your body's adapted to that stress.
Oh.
We call it getting fitter, but actually your body has adapted all of its mechanisms to that stress. So if we're looking at how do I get a better...
I'm just going to pause her here because this is again where she's contradicting what she said earlier, but she's right here is that your body is adaptable to stress and stress is not inherently good or bad. And you do adapt to stress and you do get fitter with doing it. The other thing that she said was, I don't know if you caught it. If we just eat well and exercise, we'll get all of the benefits of any of the, you know what I mean? She added eating well to it. Like she was like, if you just do the basics of eating well, like if we could do those, we would be doing them, but we're not. Like you're right that name diets, you know what I mean, are all of these things. But yeah, if you pay attention to what you're eating and you're eating whole, less processed foods, that's 90% of the damn battle. That's most of it. Like if everybody listening ate on every single time they ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and every single time they ate, they had a protein source, a fruit or a vegetable, and a relatively low processed carbohydrate and or fat, and you didn't have a bunch of snacks late at night when you're making poor decisions, and you exercised, that's the whole damn equation. That's everything. Like, the problem is doing it. And that's why people gravitate to diets is because it sets rules around what you're supposed to do. And it's like, if I just follow the rules, and nobody likes to just be like, oh, I guess I'll just eat well. But we know what eating well looks like. Just eat stuff that's like has one ingredient in it. And eat it most of the time. Like, yeah, you're going to get all the health benefits. And yeah, you're not on a diet because it doesn't have a name, but Mel said it, it's the grandparents. It's just eating like a normal person. And if you add exercise to it, it's like, oh my goodness. But yes, 100%. It's just overcomplicating things.
Okay, so hold on a second. So I just had this like epiphany.
Okay.
I can't believe how many bombs you're dropping today. Like I've never thought about exercise that way because I've focused on you have to exercise to get in better shape. What you're saying is exercise is intentionally moving and stressing your body in a way that it needs and is designed to do.
Yeah.
And in response to the stress, your body gets stronger at being able to manage stress.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's a stress resilience.
And the reason why we're so flabby and everything else is because we're sitting around and not moving and not stressing our bodies in the way that we need to.
Right.
And that only makes us more stressed out.
Right. Because we look at stress, mental health, all of the things that are really plaguing everyone. And the part of it is lack of community, lack of empathy, all of these things that breed depression, mental health, and the fact that we aren't moving our bodies. There's so much research out there that says if you go for a walk, you are reducing stress. If you go for a walk and
I'm going to be petty right now. What if I don't have food before I go, Stacy Sims?
That's going to lose muscle. You're going to lose muscle.
But again, I love the concept here that Mel did, which is like, yes, why do we work out? This is the mental health benefits of exercise cannot be overstated because you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. I said this to a client yesterday, actually, because they were coming to the end of a 4-week block of training. And we were talking about, are we going to change everything up? Are we going to do what I prefer to do, which is just swap out a couple of things? Or are we going to keep it all the same? And she was like, yeah, I'm definitely, these are getting too easy for me. So we'll swap those ones out. I was like, done deal. And she's like, the rest of them, I can kind of just continue to push myself because I'm getting stronger with them. Like I haven't hit a plateau, I might. And I said to her exactly this. This was the message I sent to her. And this was like an epiphany for me last night. And this was a moment for quick aside, right? That's related to this. Megan she was doing her like recertification thing for teaching, which is like the most dumpster fire process in the whole universe. If you've never been, there's no like way that it's done. You know what I mean? And so she went in and they're like, how did you grow as a teacher over the last year? And they basically wanted her to say, I took all of these courses and I did all of these things. And for her, she's like, I did the things that I needed to do, but because she brought evidence of like how something improved year over year, like a project that she did year over year. And they're like, what research did you do to get better with that? And she's like, I just looked at what happened and I discussed it with some other people and I did it better the next year. And then I did it better again. And they're like, but how did you come to that? And she was like, I had a hard time articulating it. I was like, you want to know how you did it? It's because you're a good teacher. And you have years of experience.
She's
and so you know what works. So I'm gonna make a claim here that I did not read anywhere. And I'm not saying that I originated it or I'm the first person to have this idea, but I didn't get it from anywhere other than from coaching people and experience through actually coaching human beings. This is an important thing to understand when you're listening to podcasts and people just talk about stuff. Like, are you just doing this based on research or are you working with humans? She was like, I don't know, like, do I keep doing this or whatever it is? And I said to her, there is a power in learning to embrace the boring progress of just doing it a little bit better at a time and rejecting the idea of novelty. Particularly when it applies to our nutrition. So I practice the ability of doing boring things, the same thing over and over, and being okay with the fact that it's slightly boring and I'm just trying to get better and better and better and better at it. And I'm just doing the process because that's what nutrition is. And people can find novelty with their workouts. I can go to a new gym class, or I can get a new trainer, or I could try a new style, or I could join a new gym, or I can buy a new piece of equipment. Like, you can force novelty into your training. But the problem with nutrition is that we try to force novelty into our nutrition, and it's harder. You can do it with like, hey, I try a new recipe or something like that. But where we try to force novelty and I get bored of just doing what Mel and Stacy said, of just eating whole, less processed foods and eating the same meals fairly regularly. And that's boring. It's just boring. But good progress is boring. And so the ability to embrace boring, you can practice that skill via working out in a boring way. And so you can carry that into your nutrition. And so this is the concept of like working out and forcing yourself to do hard things shows you that you can do hard things in every other area of your life. So you're better able to manage stress in the rest of your life. So then you're able to do all the things we talked about. Go to sleep and then wake up and have a good workout and go for the walk and eat your food so you're not stressed out. It all works together. But yes, working out helps you not be as susceptible to stress. Because your body learns what stress feels like. And it goes, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. I can handle stress. We're going to probably do one last clip here. Let's see if we can get through the end of this a little bit.
Okay.
And you actually go to a green space, so that's to a park, and you're in nature, it induces an incredible parasympathetic response, which means that you reduce stress. But because we are so ingrained.
And go outside. That's the point,
the
right?
message
She
there.
just made that. Go outside.
Well,
It's good for you. My goodness gracious.
To doing all the things all the time inside, sitting and not actually getting outside, having the fresh air, having that connection with being outside and moving our bodies. We are by design now a global of very stressed out, unempathetic, depressed people. And if we're talking about how do we just make one small change to improve our mental health, that's exercise. I'm not necessarily here as an exercise physiologist to tell you, the listener, to go out and go for a long, hard walk because you want better body composition. I'm here as an exercise physiologist to explain what exercise is. It is an incredible positive stress on the body that creates changes from central nervous system down to the smallest little thing in your cell to improve your overall stress resilience and metabolism, meaning how your body handles food, how your brain reacts to stress, how your brain perceives an environment. And just the moving part really does help bring center and bring yourself back to you.
I believe it. And I want to see if I can just use an example to try to really paint the picture of what you're teaching us right now, which is an entirely different way to think about the importance of movement and exercise, strength training, whatever it is that you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you go for a walk, and let's say you go for a walk and you were mentioning you go for a walk and there's a hill in your neighborhood. And when you have to go up the hill, we've all experienced this, you get shortness of breath. You got to be using your legs a little bit more to go up the incline, make it a little winded, a little sweaty.
Yep.
Even if you got a dog on a leash pulling you up the hill, like you're going. And that is you, by exercising your body, putting yourself in a stressful situation, right? Because it's requiring your body to exert effort and to move against that incline. And it's designed to do that.
Yeah.
And if you keep doing that over time, what you're actually doing, in addition to all the positive things that happen, is you're training your body on how to be strong in situations that are stressful.
Right.
So the more that you walk and the more that you build muscle and the more that you take the advice that you're about to give us about what we should specifically be doing as women, fast forward 6 months from now, if you keep doing that and you're sitting in a stressful meeting at work, the impact of that outside stress on you is going to be way less because you in your life have been strengthening your body by going to the gym and going for a walk so that your body can actually be in stressful situations and not get hijacked.
Exactly. So the whole flight or fight response that people talk about with
Yes.
cortisol, we're flighting. We're teaching our body that flight by exercising, and your body's like, this is a stress. I need to understand it, overcome it, get stronger. Could also think about it as the fight response too, because if you're in the gym and you're building the muscle and you're ready to go, coiled up, ready to go, your body's learning that stress because we're not an algorithm. We adapt to so many different things. So if we put our body into an uncomfortable or a challenged situation, it doesn't like it. So it learns how to overcome that and get stronger in the process. So when as you're explaining, it's like, yes, it's all about stress resilience. If we're resilient to stress in a meeting, our immune system is also really resilient to stuff that's going around. And we're also resilient enough to maintain a focus if we're getting ready to lose it and our kid goes off. Like, we're not going to break down and start yelling at our partner or our kid because we have this stress resilience. We're able to take that pause.
It makes so much sense.
So that was everything we just said. And honestly, I think that was a positive way to end, which was with the idea of, like, again, I'm not saying that everything they're saying is wrong by any stretch of the imagination. She said a couple things that were wrong. But for the most part, it was just overcomplicating things, which is, hey, it's valuable to do hard things. That was the summary of that. Again, there was a lot of words to say what we said there, which is just like, do hard things. Exercise is good for you. And it makes you more resilient to doing other things. So I hope that this has been valuable. I'm curious as the episode goes live this week, what the feedback will be. But again, if you've listened and you've found this valuable, or if you have questions, let me know. Again, I'm not sure. I don't know if we'll do the other one at this point. By the time this goes live, I will know. But I will have to see kind of what the feedback is on the first couple versions of this. Because again, we have gotten through half of this episode and it's taken us 2 episodes. So we would be kind of pot committed to another, maybe
at least 2,
maybe 1, but
probably
likely 2 more episodes to get through this thing, which is, I don't know if I want to commit to that much airtime, but we'll see where we're at there. But appreciate you listening. Appreciate you being here. If you have listened this far, again, shoot me a message. We'd love to hear from you. Give it a review, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you don't already. But we'll look forward to hearing from you next time.